Let's talk about coronavirus, a time that for so many people has been so stressful and frustrating because we have to isolate ourselves. People feeling disconnected from their friends, they're feeling disconnected from family. Everybody's worried about themselves, by their health of friends and family overseas. So it's a disaster for many people. So what I want to do in the next 5 minutes or so, I want to go and share a different perspective on this. Since Corona started, people have been saying to me, Marcus, you need to talk about it, how it's impacting people, how it's making people feel, what they can do about it. And this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do this in 3 different sessions. So today, I'm going to talk about a greater context for the coronavirus. And I'm going to look at how it seems to be fitting in with patterns that are happening in the world. Then the next session, I am going to talk about a book, and it's called The Barometer of the Soul. And I'm going to shed some light on how maybe the coronavirus is pushing us to start to think about ourselves, what we're doing with our lives, not from an individual perspective, but also from a community perspective. And then the third session, I will start to talk a little bit on how it's impacting me on a personal level. Hopefully shedding some light on what it means for you as a person that you have to deal with this and the impact it has on your feelings, your emotions, and your well-being. So let's first get started with today. So today I really want to give you a bit of a context in a global sense, and create some context in the way that this might be happening. So there is a shift in conscious happening. So what do I mean with that? For starters, most people at the time are busy working, they're focused at work, they are really preoccupied with the things that they believe they have to be doing. So we're kind of living in a world where we're not necessarily thinking and feeling anymore, but we're just living according to preconceived ideas. And this is kind of happening over time. So what you start to see is that a lot of people doing work, doing jobs that they're not really enjoying, a lot of people living lives that are not really enjoying, and a lot of people are being pushed by possessions rather than actually thinking about who it is that they are and what it is that they want to achieve in life. But let's start. So there's a shift happening in the conscious levels. So what we're starting to do is we're starting to become less externally focused, but we're becoming more internally focused. So for example, instead of thinking about what other people are doing, we're starting to think more, hey, how can I improve myself? So we're starting to shift this a little bit. So there's a shift in conscious happening. But this is not the only thing that's shifting. There's a lot of things that are happening in the world which are causing us discomfort. Let's talk about politics, for example. Democracy is supposed to be one of the most suitable and best political systems in the world. So what is happening with this? This whole system is broken down. So the structures that we know and government and people that we can rely on and the democracy is being torn down. You can see this in the USA, but you can also see it in Brazil and there's many countries in Europe where it's happening as well. But then let's start to think differently. Politics is just one example. But let's start to think about the traditional roles that we have, the male versus female role. Even there, the male role is being challenged and the female role is kind of shifting and changing. You start to see more men that are sensitive, like new age kind of guys that are in touch with their emotions and want to explore those things. Yet the women, on the other hand, are getting far more career driven and career focused. And then we have the weather. In Australia, we have droughts. We have long, hot summers. In Europe, summers starting later. They don't get snow anymore in December, which is what it used to happen 10, 15 years ago. And now they're lucky if they're going to get some snow in February. So you can see all of these things are shifting. But then what's happening on a bigger scale as well? You can start to see lots of events happening. Now we have the coronavirus. Before we had fires in Australia. Maybe about a year ago or so, we had the Notre Dame in Paris catch fire. So when you listen to energetic people who are dealing with realms of energy and who are really in tune with them, they say that the Notre Dame was built on a crossing of many energy lines, and these exploded. And this explosion is one of the reasons why there's an increase of terrorism. There's political systems are being challenged. Volcanoes are erupting in New Zealand. And you may think this sounds really weird, but once you start to look at all of these things that are happening, you really have to say, you know what, there is a whole lot of things happening and there is a whole lot of things shifting. So even the political situation can start to say, hey, you know, what we believe is right is being broken down. Those structures are changing. People like the American president are just kicking and fighting to hold on to the power. But they are doing so because it's getting desperate for them, because things are changing and people will not follow them where it is that they want to go. And you see that too. Recently we saw a protest in Iran. Well, that's a very unusual thing to happen. But you can see that people are getting more and more encouraged to speak up and to stand up for them. So what does this mean? So the coronavirus and the bushfires, they can be seen as part of a cleansing thing. I saw a really beautiful video today, and in this video somebody said, in order for you to heal, you need to get sick first. So we can maybe see the word as that's what's happening. We need to get sick in order to start to heal. We need to get confronted with ourselves so we can start to heal and we can start to feel better. So now I don't want you to think that I don't feel sorry for all these people in the world who've been affected by the fires, by floods and any other disaster that have happened. But I just want to share with you some ideas on how you can start to look at things and maybe see how things are linked together in a greater pattern that maybe we don't understand yet, but that's starting to get clearer and clearer to many people in this world. So the empathy towards the people that have been affected is something that I'm going to talk about in this third session, because I think it's really important to be aware of that, and it is something that I'm really struggling with. Not just the empathy, but also not being impacted by it. And it's kind of causing an inner conflict, which is causing tiredness, stress, tension, and really a confused level of emotions, if I can call it that. So for today, I just wanted to share with you some different insight on maybe what the coronavirus means for us in the world. Once you start to understand that maybe everything that's happening in the world is going to lead us to a better place, but it's also up to you to start to work with that, that may help you to deal with the stressful situation that we're currently in. So tomorrow I will be talking a little bit on how I believe the coronavirus is trying to give us a message and maybe send us into a specific direction. So for now, I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave a comment below this video. Share with me your thoughts. And if you like this, maybe share what else you'd like to listen to or what you'd like me to talk about. So for now, thank you very much and hopefully see you in part 2.